All right. Mm.
Today I'm going to be talking about why you guys should consider going vegan. And a lot of people really don't like to hear about this subject, but I'm going to bore you guys anyway. And I used to be a big meat eater too. Like, I've only just recently became a vegan. But after learning all of the things that I'm about to share with you, I decided to make a change. So hopefully you'll feel the same way that I did. And there's a lot of misunderstandings about veganism and a lot of skepticism because people just don't know what it's really about. And so I'll be educating you all a little bit about it. A lot of people don't think that being vegan is healthy because you're not getting protein or you're not getting enough nutrients. But soy foods like tempeh, beans, lentils, and nuts, and some whole grains like quinoa and dark leafy greens are a great source for protein. And plant-based foods have more fiber, phytonutrients, and antioxidants, plenty of carbohydrates, micronutrients, and dietary fats. So they are very healthy for you. And they do have a lack of iron, but you can take vitamins for that, which you're supposed to be taking anyways, but who takes vitamins? Lisa Young, PhD, said that meat and cheese are high in saturated fats, which elevates LDL levels of cholesterol, and that contributes to hardening and narrowing of arteries, putting you at a higher risk of heart attack and stroke. So by being a vegan, you are at a lower risk for heart attacks and cardiac troubles. Another argument that people like to use is that we're omnivores and we're supposed to eat meat, and that's why we have canines. But obviously, carnivores and omnivores have similar traits that are different than all the traits that herbivores have in common. Carnivores and omnivores have all the traits that make them well suited for killing and eating their prey, and they have to be able to use their mouth to kill and eat raw flesh. And not only is that physically impossible for us to do, it would make us really sick. Now, herbivores have small mouths, muscular tongues, and mobile jaw joints for chewing, crushing, and grinding. Now, which one of these is more similar to you? We accommodate animal-based foods so that we consume them by cooking it and cutting it up so that we don't have to kill our prey, but it's extremely unnecessary. There are many benefits about going vegan. Being better for the animals, obviously, being better for your health, better for the people, and the environment. I'm going to start off with the PETA slogan. Animals aren't ours to eat, wear, experiment on, use for entertainment, or abuse in any other way. A lot of people don't like to hear this, and PETA gets a lot of crap talked about them because it's hippie stuff or soft, but it's the truth. And going vegetarian isn't enough either, because people can argue that milking cows and chickens laying eggs doesn't hurt them, but the high demand for products results in factory farms where all these animals are being forced to live in small confinements that's unnatural for them. It affects their mental and physical health, and they can have broken bones or suffer from osteoporosis, malignant tumors, and stress-induced abnormal behaviors because they're trying to adapt in a environment that they're not used to. But animals are very ill-equipped for adapting, unlike humans. Most farms are measured by welfare from the 5 freedoms, and those are the freedoms from hunger, thirst, and malnutrition, freedom from pain, injury, and disease, pain from discomfort, fear, and distress, and the freedom to express natural behavior. And almost all of the farms don't have any of these. Well, free-range animals, they're happy, right? Well, free-living animals can also experience the poor welfare that have been affecting them. and they can develop coping mechanisms, but like I said, it doesn't help them. And mental and physical suffering is very severe in captivity. And under farm conditions, animals are usually unable to perform natural behaviors. Battery cages is one of the worst for animals. It can have thousands of chickens stacked on top of each other in small metal crates. And even though this kind of farming is banned in America, it's still the most common one used. 95% of animals are killed prematurely, and I got this from the vegansociety.com. And they also endure mutilations such as debeaking, dehorning, and castration without painkillers. And they're debeaking the chickens because they're in such small confinements, and they get stressed out that they peck at each other, and they don't want them hurting each other. In order to produce milk, cows have to become pregnant and have calves. To feed humans, this is usually done forcibly, typically through artificial insemination, which is very inhumane. Then the cows are taken away from their mothers, generally within 24 hours of birth, and this puts both the mom and the baby through immense stress. And the mom will go through this process 4 to 5 times in her life before being rendered spent. As a result of unnatural milk yields, majority of cows get udder infections, which is very gross. Dairy cows can live up to 25 years, but when they're on a farm, they usually only live to 7 or 8 because that's how good they are for. I have some pictures to show about the farms. So this picture is a Whole Foods humanly raised pig farm, and it's certified step 2, which means that the conditions are better than other farms, but they're still crammed together and being forced to not have the freedom of their natural behaviors and not being able to move around like they should be able to. This picture is also free range, organic, and family run. Sounds pretty nice, right? They should have a good life. But that doesn't look like fun. You wouldn't want to live like this. When the cows are taken away, they're put in crates away from their mothers to be sold for veal. And this one is sitting here dying alone. And no one really cares. They just let it. Not only would you be benefiting the animals, but being a vegan also benefits you. It's one of the healthiest diets. Many studies have shown that being a vegan provides more fiber and beneficial plant compounds, and they're also richer in potassium, magnesium, folate, and vitamin A, C, and E. And you can even have lower blood sugar levels and higher insulin sensitivity and up to 75% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. In fact, some information that I got from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition is that vegan diets can lower your blood sugar lower, and the participants following vegan diets, 43% of them were able to lower their dosage of blood sugar lowering medicine, compared to only 26% of people following the ADA recommended diet, which is American Diabetes Association. So they should be the most beneficial, best working diet since they're the American diabetes. But veganism is more beneficial to people with diabetes. Being a vegan also is beneficial to the environment. Compared to producing animal products from crops and water needed to feed animals and transporting and processing them. The large amount of grain required for meat production is a big contributor to deforestation, which causes habitat loss and species extinction. The new dietary interventions to enhance the treatments for weight loss had a study that compared vegan, vegetarian, pesco-vegetarian, semi-vegetarian, and omnivores. Vegan had the greatest decrease on nitrogen footprint, 51% of more or more of global greenhouse gas emissions from the animal agriculture. It takes an enormous amount of water to grow crops for animals to eat, clean factory farms, and give them water to drink. It takes about 683 gallons of water to produce just 1 gallon of milk. It takes 2,400 gallons to produce 1 pound of beef, but it only takes 244 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of tofu. Vegans save 219,000 gallons of water a year. And animals on factory farms can produce 500 million tons of manure each year. And there's no animal sewage processing plants, and so these are often stored in waste lagoons. Now, how many of us have drove by a lagoon and oof, that stinks? When they aren't stored in lagoons, they're sprayed over fields. And runoff water from factory farms is a cause of pollution in rivers and lakes. Bacteria and viruses can be carried by the runoff, and groundwater can be contaminated. Factory farms often dodge water pollution limits by spraying liquid manure in the air, which is carried away by the wind. People who live nearby are forced to inhale the toxins and pathogens from the sprayed manure. A report by the California State Senate noted that studies have shown that animal waste lagoons emit airborne chemicals that can cause inflammatory, irritation, immune, and neurochemical problems in humans. While factory farms are bad for our land, there are problems in the ocean as well. Commercial fishing methods, such as body troll lining and long lining, often clear the ocean floor of all life and destroy coral reefs. They also kill thousands of dolphins and sea turtles, sharks, and other animals, them accidentally getting caught in the nets. Also, coastal fish farms release feces, antibiotics, parasites, and non-native fish into sensitive marine ecosystems. So your fish and chips is killing a lot of sea life. But veganism is also better for the people. There's only so much usable agricultural land, so how it's used is important. Meat-heavy diets waste resources that we should be preserving. This is because livestock consumes much more protein, water, and calories than they produce. We do not have enough land to feed a growing population on a meat-based diet, and we continue to waste agricultural land by only receiving a small fraction of food potential by raising livestock. With constant growing population and food and water insecurity, it'd be more beneficial if we adopted a plant-based living which only requires 1/3 of the land that's needed for meat and dairy. Being vegan benefits in multiple ways by not scrutinizing animals and giving them ethical treatment, and studies show that being vegan is healthier and is better for the environment by cutting back on pollution and water use and being the more sensible way to feed the world. We can live on animal-based diets, but just because it's convenient and it's what we're used to doesn't mean that we have to. It'd be less of an inconvenience to provide food on a plant-based diet in a world of water insecurity and food insecurity. Thank you.
Okay, we're all still here. Oh, it's zoomed in. Hold on. Woo!
Very cool.